The Adventures of Little Squirrel. Once upon a time, there was a little squirrel who lived in a beautiful forest. Little squirrels are very curious, always want to explore the world outside the forest. One day, the little squirrel decided to leave the forest and find a new adventure. It walked along a path and came to a strange place. There is a vast field here and the flowing creek. The little squirrel ran and jumped excitedly in the field, but accidentally fell into a big pit. He struggled hard, but couldn't get out. Just when the little squirrel felt hopeless, a bird flew over and saw its plight. The little bird encouraged the little squirrel not to give up and helped it find a branch. The little squirrel climbed out of the pit along the branch. The little squirrel gratefully said to the birdie, "Thank you, little birdie. Without your help, I don't know what I would do." The little birdie smiled and said, "You're welcome. Friends should help each other." The little squirrel understood the truth. You may encounter difficulties on the way to adventure, but as long as you don't give up, you will find a way to solve it. Moreover, the help and support of friends is very important. Finally, the little squirrel and the bird returned to the forest together, and it shared the adventure with other friends. From then on, the little squirrel became braver and stronger and learned to cherish the friendship between friends. This story teaches children to face difficulties bravely and not give up easily, but also to know how to be grateful and cherish friendship. The power of little red flowers. Once upon a time, there was a student named Xiaoming. He always felt that studying was boring and lacked motivation. His grades had also been less than ideal, which frustrated him. One day, the teacher announced a new plan in class. Whenever a student made progress or performed well, the teacher would reward him with a small red flower. Xiaoming didn't pay much attention to this plan at first, but when he saw his classmates getting little red flowers, one after another, he started to feel itchy in his heart, so he began to study hard, complete his homework seriously, and actively participate in classroom activities. Although it was difficult at first, he slowly made some progress. Finally, one day, the teacher gave Xiaoming a small red flower. He felt very excited and proud, and he found it felt good to be recognized for his efforts. This story tells us that appropriate rewards and encouragement can stimulate people's enthusiasm and motivation. When we work hard to do something, receiving recognition and reward will give us more confidence and motivation to continue moving forward. At the same time, it also reminds us to learn to appreciate and praise the efforts and achievements of others, which can have a huge positive impact on them. Seeds of dreams. Once upon a time, there was a small village where a boy named Xiaoxi lived. Xiaoxi has no interest in studying, and his grades have always been unsatisfactory. He feels that reading is boring and meaningless. One day, a new teacher came to the school. This teacher is different. He always imparts knowledge with passion and makes the class lively and interesting. The teacher noticed Xiaoxi's condition and decided to help him. One day after class, the teacher found Xiaoxi and chatted with him. The teacher did not criticize him, but told him a story about his dream. Xiaoxi was deeply attracted by the story, and he began to think about what his dream was. The teacher encouraged him that as long as he studied hard, he could realize his dream. From that day on, Xiaoxi seemed to be a changed person. He began to listen carefully, answer questions actively, and work hard to complete his homework. As time goes by, Xiaoxi's grades gradually improved. He found that learning was not boring, but full of challenges and fun. In the end, Xiaoxi achieved excellent results. In an exam, he looked at the teacher gratefully and understood the teacher's good intentions. This story tells us that everyone has his or her own dream, and learning is the way to realize it. A good teacher can ignite the passion in students and make them understand the importance of learning. At the same time, it also tells us that as long as we have a dream and work hard for it, we will be able to achieve our goals.
True friendship. In a small town, there are two children. Xiaoming and Xiaogang. They have been good friends since childhood, playing and going to school together. However, as they grow older, their personalities begin to diverge. Xiaoming has excellent grades and cheerful personality, and is deeply loved by teachers and classmates. Xiaogang, on the other hand, is relatively introverted and has average grades. Gradually, Xiaoming became busy with various activities and social interactions, and spent less and less time with Xiaogang. Xiaogang felt disappointed, but he didn't say it out loud. He just suffered silently. One day, Xiaoming suffered a failure in a competition. He felt very frustrated and lost. His friends tried to comfort him, but he still felt empty inside. At this time, Xiaogang appeared. He didn't say anything to comfort him. He just stayed with Xiaoming silently and did the things he liked with him. With Xiaogang's company, Xiaoming gradually got out of the shadow of failure and regained his confidence. From then on, Xiaoming understood that true friendship is not to pursue you when you're brilliant, but to accompany you when you're down. This story tells us that true friendship can withstand the test of time and test. It does not lie in the superficial form, but in the inner sincerity and companionship. In life, we should cherish those true friends, go through ups and downs together, and share happiness.
The persistence of the rabbit. Once upon a time, there was a rabbit who loved to dance. Whenever he sees other animals dancing happily in the forest, the rabbit will be full of envy and yearning. So, the rabbit decided to learn to dance. It started practicing every day, and although it wasn't perfect at first, it never gave up. When other animals saw the rabbit working hard, some laughed at it, saying that it couldn't dance well no matter how hard it tried. Some persuaded it to give up, thinking that it had no talent for dancing. But the rabbit doesn't care about other people's opinions. It firmly believes that as long as it perseveres, it will make progress. Over time, the rabbit dancing skills gradually improve. Its dancing posture becomes more and more beautiful, and its movements become more and more smooth. One day, a grand dance was held in the forest. The rabbit participated without hesitation. It showed its own style on the stage and won everyone's applause and praise. This story tells us that as long as we have a dream and work hard for it, we will definitely gain something. On the road to realizing our dreams, we may encounter various difficulties and setbacks, but we cannot give up easily. Just like the rabbit, stick to your beliefs and believe in your abilities, and you will eventually be able to realize your dreams. Helen's piano dream. Helen has had a keen interest in piano since she was a child. She dreams of one day playing beautiful music on stage. However, the road to learning piano is not easy. She needs to constantly practice fingerings, rhythms, and notes, which is a huge challenge for her at such a young age. As time went by, Helen encountered many difficulties. Her fingers often hurt and the repertoire became increasingly difficult. Sometimes, she even wants to give up, but every time she thinks about her dream, she gets refreshed. She knew that only by persevering could she realize her piano dream. Therefore, Helen spent a lot of time practicing piano every day. She not only listens carefully during class, but also works on her own skills after class. After years of persistence and hard work, Helen's piano skills have greatly improved. She began participating in various competitions and performances and received many awards and critical acclaim. In the end, Helen realized her dream and became an excellent pianist. This story tells us that as long as we have firm belief and unremitting efforts, we will be able to overcome difficulties and realize our dreams. No matter how much setbacks you encounter, you must persevere, because only perseverance can usher in the dawn of success. The power of trust. Li Ming runs a small company and has recently encountered difficulties in cash flow. He looked around for a loan, but no bank was willing to give him a loan due to his poor credit history. One day, a stranger came to Li Ming and claimed to be a representative of an investment company. He expressed great interest in Li Ming's company and was willing to provide funds to help him tide over the difficulties. Li Ming was skeptical because he had never heard of this investment company. However, this person did not rush for success, but took the time to introduce the company's situation to Li Ming and provided some relevant information. He also offered to provide some funds for Li Ming to use for the company's operations. Li Ming thought about it for a long time and finally decided to believe the stranger. He accepted funds from investment companies and used the money to grow the company as agreed. In the next few months, Li Ming worked hard and the company's business gradually improved. He repaid the loan on time, and the investment company was very satisfied with his performance. Through this experience, Li Ming understood the power of trust. If he had not chosen to trust the stranger, his company might have collapsed long ago. This story tells us that trust is the cornerstone of a good relationship. In life and work, we need to learn to trust others, and at the same time work hard to win the trust of others. The power of friendship. In a small town, there were two children, Atia and Atiyu. They have been good friends since childhood. They went to school and played together and were inseparable. However, at a school sports meeting, they had a conflict. Atia and Naogu both signed up for the running race, and they were both very eager to win the race. During the competition, Atia accidentally tripped Zigang, causing Atiyu to fall to the ground and lose the chance to compete. Atiyu felt very angry and disappointed. He felt that Atia had done it on purpose, and there was a rift in their friendship. A few days later, the town was hit by a heavy rainstorm that flooded many houses and roads. Atia thought that the Atiyu family lived in a low-lying area and might be affected by floods. He picked up the umbrella without hesitation and ran towards Achan's house. When Atia arrived at Achan's house, he found that the water had reached the door. He quickly helped Abo's family move their belongings and drain the water out of the house together. When Abo saw what Atia had done for him, the anger and disappointment in his heart immediately disappeared. He realized that friendship was more important than the outcome of the game. Since then, the friendship between Atia and Aku has become even deeper. They learned to understand and tolerate each other and face the difficulties and challenges in life together. This story tells us that true friendship can withstand the test. When facing conflicts and difficulties, we should learn to tolerate and understand and cherish the friends around us. Little White Jobs Freedom. In a beautiful valley, there lives a group of little white pigeons. Their white feathers shine in the sun, flying freely among the blue sky on white clouds. However, there is a little white pigeon that is always tied up in a cage. Its owner is an old man who loves the white pigeon very much, but thinks that keeping it in a cage is the best way to protect it. The little white dove longed for freedom. It watched other white doves flying freely in the sky every day, and its heart was filled with envy and yearning. When the door of the cage opened, the little white pigeon hesitated, but soon it spread its wings and flew towards the blue sky. It felt the joy of freedom and flew freely. It crossed valleys, flew over rivers, and explored unknown territories. However, freedom is not always easy. The little white pigeon encountered the challenges of wind and rain, and also faced difficulties in finding food and habitat. But it did not flinch. It learned to adapt to the environment and face difficulties bravely. In the end, the little white dove became a strong and free dove. This story tells us that freedom is precious, but it also requires courage and hard work to pursue. In the process of pursuing freedom, we may encounter difficulties and challenges, but as long as we persevere, we can achieve our freedom. Brave Little Bear. Once upon a time, there was a little bear living in a beautiful forest. It loves exploring new places and is always full of curiosity. One day, Little Bear decided to climb a high mountain. Although other animals warned him that the journey was dangerous, the little bear embarked on the journey determinedly. At first, the climb is relatively easy, but as the altitude increases, the path becomes steeper and more difficult. The cub had to carefully climb rocks and avoid steep cliffs. When it climbed halfway, a strong wind suddenly blew and the weather became very bad. The little bear was very scared, but he knew he couldn't back down. He clung to the rock and climbed up step by step. Despite the increasing wind, it held on. Finally, the little bear successfully climbed to the top of the mountain. It feels the joy and pride of success. Since then, the little bear has become braver and stronger. It knows that as long as you don't give up, you can overcome any difficulty. This story tells us that when faced with difficulties, we cannot retreat easily. As long as we have courage and determination, we can overcome difficulties and achieve our goals.